A question about tapping is what I'm going to answer right now. My name is Sebastian. I used to suffer from a whole bunch of social anxiety, which really sucked for a long time. And then I discovered some technique called tapping, EFT, emotional freedom techniques. Used that to overcome my own social anxiety. This is a long time ago. Since then, I've been helping people using this technique to overcome their social anxiety. And I'm on this mission to update social anxiety treatment worldwide, because just cognitive approaches are just a small part of the puzzle, because overcoming social anxiety is mostly an emotional journey. Anyway, that's a different story. The question is, of this tapping technique, how do you do it? Or rather, the question is, and I'll read it out, hello. Yes, actually I have a question. I'm wondering if it's sufficient to tap middle of the eyebrow. I think he or she means here, in between the eyebrows, so that you cover both points, because it's actually on each side of the body and it's right there. So he talks about tapping like that. Side of the eyes, under the nose, on the chin, which is not the chin, they call it chin point, but it's bottom lip, the indent here, and collarbone, which is actually not on your collarbone, but underneath your collarbone. So your collarbone starts here, ends in this thick knob, and underneath there, between that thick knob of your collarbone and your top rib, is a little indent. That's the point. So if you tap on those points, he says, and you skip the other pressure points, is that still okay? And the answer is yes, that's totally fine, because if you tap 5 or 6 more points, you're gonna get results. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's gonna be fine. So it's okay to do that. Now there are more points under the arms. Liver point is here. It's usually associated with anxiety, so I would use it. These as well, wrist point, tap there, and then top of the head. These points are used often as well. Then there's the finger points, which is on the outside of the nail bed of the thumb, right there, and you tap on the nail bed and inside of the nail bed of the fingers. And then there's this point. There are a bunch more points, but the main ones, he's skipping a couple. No, he's suggesting skipping a couple. Just doing this, this, and this, and skipping this one, and skipping this one, and skipping this one, and skipping this one. It's okay to do that. Yes, no worries. All right, hope this was helpful. And I'll just give you a little quick bit of background. So EFT, emotional freedom techniques, had a forerunner, and that was thought field therapy. So Roger Callahan developed thought field therapy, and he was a psychologist, psychotherapist, and he discovered, after studying Chinese medicine, that certain points on the body were connected to certain organs, and he noticed that emotions and feelings are connected to these particular organs. And he had a client who had a significant water phobia, and he tried all of the techniques, and it didn't do much for her at all. And eventually, in his experimenting to this lady, well, just tap under your eye while you think of water, and notice what happens. And that fear sensation for her while tapping under the eye started to rapidly decrease. And she's like, oh my God, it's gone. Like a 1-minute miracle, the ones that you might have heard about that almost never actually happened. That's how things started. And then he was like, oh wow, so these tapping points are connected to particular feelings in the body, and when we tap them, you're gonna release the emotions and the feelings associated with what it is that you're thinking about, and it's gonna be released in the body. Now I'm butchering this story a little bit, but this lady then cured her lifelong water phobia, and it was to the point where she couldn't even bathe herself properly. And was afraid of the swimming pool. She went to the swimming pool, could get close to the swimming pool. She still wasn't, she couldn't swim, obviously. So she was not going to be jumping into it, because she remembered that she couldn't swim, but she was not afraid of the water anymore. And so then he was like, wow, this is amazing. Let me experiment with this. And he then came up with all sorts of algorithms for particular issues. So for stopping smoking, it was, for example, like tap on the beginning of the eyebrows, tap under your eyes, tap your collarbone, chin point, collarbone, under the arm, top of the head, deep breath. Okay, you have low self-esteem, tap side of the eyes, under the eyes, collarbone, top of the head, under the arm. I'm just making this up as we go. This is not the actual algorithm, but that's how TFT was put together. And so there were particular algorithms for particular problems. And he then started offering these workshops for $10,000 per workshop. And then Gary Craig comes along, Stanford engineer, and his mind is thinking very strategically, and he sees that there's this algorithm, you need to do this for that and that for that and this for the other, and he's like, wow, that's very complex. How can we simplify it and apply it to more people? And then he created a standard algorithm for all issues, and that became standard EFT. And it's like on the karate chop, even though I have this problem, fill in the problem, I deeply and completely accept myself, a setup statement. And then I think the original tapping points are beginning of the eyebrows, side of the eyes, under the nose, under the chin, on the collarbone, under the arm, and maybe top of the head. I'm not even sure if that was part of it. It's been a long time that I studied that. And that's the general algorithm. Many variations have come from that since, but the tapping points are generally still the same. But my mentor and his best mate, psychologist and a psychotherapist, they've experimented with it a lot, and they've told me, and this is also my experience after experimenting with it a lot, that if you tap on 5 or 6 points in succession, you're also going to get a result. So you can choose which ones, okay? But for best results, tap on all the points that I tap on, those. Right, hope this is helpful, and I'll connect with you very soon. If you have a question, leave it underneath this video or send it over to socialanxietysolutionsva@gmail.com. All right, bye for now.